Hey, everybody, it is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and I am joined tonight by my lovely bride, Firecracker, and my buddy Steve Baggerbaits. And we're going to talk about Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest rally coming up just a week away. I mean, literally, a lot of people are going to head there on Wednesday of this next week and stuff. I got 7 things I want to tell you about Bike Fest this year, specifically events and things going on specific to 2024. If people want to know more about Bike Fest who are not familiar with it, I got a whole bunch of videos on the channel. You can go look at them. They'll give you an idea of what Bike Fest is like overall. But tonight we're going to talk about 7 things that you can do at Bike Fest this year. All right, let's see who all we got in the house. I see 3 or 4 people on the stream here. Evil Rick is here, and back at Cornbread. I don't know if he's here yet, but we want to welcome him as a new member on the channel. See, come on, give me a shout out, guys. Let me know. We're up to 5. Where y'all at? Who all's out there?
This live could change the dynamics of the motorcycle industry. That's how powerful this next hour is going to be.
Really?
Honey, are you wearing your boots? The muck boots. You need the really tall muck boots.
He's getting really deep there.
We're up to 9. We got 9 people. Give us a shout
out.
I told you. Give us a shout out in the chat. Let us know who all's out there. Road Rush Nation just said, "Hey guys, how are you doing?"
Yeah. Road Rush.
All right. Mars or bust. If it doesn't say Harley Davidson, it's a girl's bike.
So I got friends that
shit talking starting already.
Yeah, I got friends that went down today, and their first stop was Big Dick's halfway in. Why wouldn't it be, right?
That's on your way into the lake.
And he showed me a video that he did where there was a bunch of bikes already pulling in there, and they were all from Omaha, and they're already starting their Bike Fest vacation. So their bikes are already down there.
Right on. Well, we got 66 Phoenix Patrick on here as well. From Australia. All right, let's get into number 1. Cycle Showcase is back at the Encore this year. I don't know what was up with Instagram, but it hadn't been showing me their post. I had to go out and look, and sure enough, they are back. Now, they've been doing other events. They've got, I think, Smoke out there at this weekend, and then they'll be at the lake next weekend. He just got done doing a show at Sturgis. But at Encore, they're going to have the Cycle Showcase bike exhibit is what I'm going to refer to it as. It's a bike show, but it's not you get judged. It's more of an exhibit of amazing looking bikes. And then they're going to have the Globe of Death there at Encore as well. I definitely recommend, if you are into motorcycles as art, you need to go check out Cycle Showcase. And it's not just Harley Davidson's. There's, all kinds of other brands involved, classic, metric bikes.
Okay, mixer thing.
Hey.
I
was smoking crack there for just a split second. Sorry about that.
I could tell. Carl said the strip is packed tonight for hot summer nights. Harry Tratner said, "What the hell? No more beard? You going clean cut, brother?" Harry, I cut the beard off 10 months ago?
Been a while.
Cut it off 10 months ago because I had a job opportunity, which would be a promotion, which I did get, but I did cut the beard for the interview, and I was kind of getting tired of it. I'd grown it for a specific reason, which is long past due. It's a very sore subject. My wife is over there pouting just because you brought it up, because she is not happy. She would like me to grow the beard back.
Bullshit. Tell them the truth. You found a squirrel in it. We all know.
It's just leftover pizza, man. All right. So, I mean, Steve, you went to the Encore show last year, didn't you?
I did. Yep.
The Cycle Showcase show. We were only there for a day last year. And, I thought it was a great show, as always. I can't wait to see what he brings this year. I'll definitely swing by there and check it out. Randall's the man that puts that on. Firecracker, what'd you think of the show last year?
I mean, nice bikes, all that, but it wasn't near as bad or big as the one in St. Louis. But
yeah, I don't think he's got quite the room for his biggest show there. But maybe that'll grow, especially if they get a good turnout. Maybe Encore will make more space somehow for that.
Well, last year was his first year at the Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
It's going to take a little while to pick up steam, probably.
Yeah, and St. Louis's show this year was like kind of over the top for space and the atmosphere in the place.
Yeah, I agree with April. Yeah, but I think the it definitely has the potential to be just as big as the show he had in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean he's doing a rocking thing. This thing, we started going to it a few years ago. He was just 1 or 2 shows a year. Now he's 4 or 5. It's definitely growing. There may be a cycle showcase coming to a city near you before we know it. All right, let's talk about number 2. Number 2 is the challenge coin run at the Great American Campground and Dive Bar. So if you haven't heard about this, the Great American Campground Dive Bar is on the west side of the lake area, kind of on the north corner up there, just north of Gravois Mills. And they have this challenge coin thing going on the west side of the lake where you will go to different bars or restaurants there on the west side. You buy a challenge coin. You collect all 9 and you are entered to win this big, huge custom fire pit thing that he had made. They want to grow this thing up, and hopefully if they can build this thing up, they may be doing their own bike giveaway before it's all said and done. But for this year, it's starting off with the fire pit. But I know they want to, build it up, and as it can sustain itself, give away bigger and better things.
One of the things I'll say, the 3 of us have all had an opportunity to meet the owner of this establishment. He is a biker. This place is for bikers and anyone else for that matter, but certainly he is catering to bikers. And this place is blowing up. And I follow him on Facebook, and this campground is different than most. It's right off one of the main highways, 135 highway. It's all paved, and then his parking lot's paved. So you literally never get off pavement to go to this campground. And
well, if you get back in the camp area, there's a gravel drive around that. But they've got, but just to go to the bar and restaurant area, all paved parking, good food. They've got, they built a little stage back there to have bands, and now they've got, RV. They've got cabins in now. They just got the cabins finished up, I think, in time for Bikefest. They rent cabins. They have RV full hookup parking, things like that. So definitely he's investing in it and trying to build something with it. It's very cool.
Yep.
Firecracker, you got anything you want to add about the challenge coin run on the west side?
If you get a chance to eat at the Great American Campground when they have their boil, because they only do it, I think, certain times of the day, it's really good. But
she's big on the Cajun food and seafood.
Oh,
so she likes to eat there.
The coins look really neat that they've got for each stop.
Each stop has
logo.
Each stop has a unique coin to collect.
For those that don't know as much about the lake, the east side is considered the developed side with all the great amenities, but the west side, which is Highway 5, runs up north and south through there. It's growing over there. There's some cool stuff to do. Yeah,
the Ozark International Raceway's over there. Great American Dive Bar and Campground Dive Bars over there. Another new joint has been getting developed over there. We're going to talk about that one next. There's been some stuff going on over there on the west side. There's always been kind of a camping, campground type atmosphere over there in places and stuff, but it's starting to see more development, more stuff happening over there, more events happening during Bikefest on that side of the lake, more of a reason to go visit that side of the lake during Bikefest. So, I skipped the big one that was supposed to be number 1, but I guess it's going to be number 3 now. AMA flat track race on Saturday night. Now, if you've never been to a dirt flat track race. It is quite an experience. I've taken April to the Springfield Mile. That's a bigger track than what they have there at Bikefest. At Bikefest, they have a smaller track that's dirt up at Eldon, which is like 15 minutes from Bagnell Dam, from the strip up there. And that is going to be where the final AMA flat track race of the season is going to be. All the big race boys are going to be there. This is their final race of the year. And tickets for the gates are $40 if you buy them individually. I've seen online a party pack where you buy 4 for $99. So that's less than $25 each. Gates open at 4:00, and that is definitely on our to-do list this year. I'm excited to have a flat track race right here in our back door. I mean, even if it wasn't Bike Fest, I would go up there just for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And Eldon's about 8 miles north of the lake. So
yeah, I mean,
it's
by
right
the time
there.
time you jump onto the highway, run up and get off and stuff, it's a 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
So it won't be a big deal. Firecracker, do you want to tell them what you think about flat track racing since you've been to one race now? What was your experience like?
I couldn't sit in my seat. I was so excited. I don't know. I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, it was a good time. Terry says here, wish this wasn't so close to Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. Tough getting time off for both. Well, we'll talk about that concept a little bit here at the end. We've talked about that in the past. I understand that sentiment, but I have a kind of a different thought process around it, and I think it could be a big deal if it stays just the way it is. So let's talk about what's next on the list. This would be number 4. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but Papa Chubbies is one of those new places that's being developed on the west side and stuff. And Woody from the Buffalo Chip, as I understand it, is friends with the owner of Papa Chubbies. That's what I believe the relationship is they were already friends when this guy started developing Papa Chubbies. And so Woody comes down, and last year was the first year he's putting on a bike show at Papa Chubbies on Saturday. Registration is 11 to 1:30. And then after that, they have judging like at 2:30 or something like that. And the prizes go handed out at 3:30 or something like that. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'd like to try and run over there and check that out if we get a chance today. We've got a lot going on Saturday. There's also a charity ride they're doing this year with Woody and I think 1 or 2 other people, but they've got you pay an entry fee for the charity ride, and it goes to some kind of charity type deal. So I think the name had something to do with idiots. So I don't know what charity it is, but it sounds like a charity that is meant for people like me. So, but I thought that was very cool. That's another thing that they've brought to the table, another event for people, and a chance to get to meet Woody from the Buffalo Chip. And I heard that he put on a pretty good bike show last year. I'd like to see what kind of turnout it gets this year. Now, Papa Chubbies is free entry also. So you pay for the charity ride, or you may have to pay to register your bike for the bike show, but just to get in and go check it out, it's free.
Cool.
Firecracker, our man Mike Bowman's in the house. He said, hey guys, it was great riding with you last weekend in Arkansas. I'm sitting at the ice hole right now. Can't wait for Bikefest. Are you seeing an increase in bikes tonight up there at the ice hole, Mike, or is it about typical for the hot summer nights thing?
It'd be interesting to see what he says.
And we'll see him tomorrow.
We'll see him tomorrow. Lake Area Idiots Club. They help many lake area people with simple expenses. So that is what the charity is for. And that sounds pretty cool. I'm glad to see more charity type stuff being involved in the lake, in the rally. I think that's good promotion for the event, that people know that they can do something there that helps out the community, that does something charitable while they ride their motorcycle. We enjoy doing benefits and charity rides, that kind of thing myself. So now, I don't know if you've heard of this little band, Steve, but this is number 5. You ever heard of this group called Jackal?
Don't they have something to do with chainsaws?
Yeah, I think I saw him use a chainsaw on a stage once. So Jackal is going to be at Lazy Gators, which is the also known as Shady Gators. I guess one side's the entertainment venue, the other side's the restaurant. It's down at the end of Horseshoe Bend, and they are going to be there on Saturday night. They are a really good band. It's well known. Also, the Encore has some tribute bands playing Friday and Saturday night there at Encore. There's a ZZ Top tribute band. Hell's Bells is back. I still swear Hell's Bells is the best AC/DC tribute band I have ever seen. They are amazing, and I've got to meet those guys and hang out with them backstage at one of our events and stuff. So they were really cool, really professional guys, and they do an amazing job. Very high energy. They do their top-notch best to put on an AC/DC style show.
Yeah.
Firecracker, do you have anything to add to the Hell's Bells or Jackal?
They, well, we've seen Jackal, but Hell's Bells pretty much sounds like AC/DC. I mean, when you listen to them, I feel like they sound like it's the real band you're listening to.
And that little dude, man, can't stand still. He is hopping and jumping and all over the place, just putting on a very high energy show. It's a really good time. So the other thing I wanted to mention, this would be number 6. And this is not new, but it is there. And it's something I kind of wanted to talk about just for a second. The Harley Davidson demo truck will be there. The Indian motorcycle demo truck will be there. And that's great. They're there every year. It's an opportunity for you to get out and ride the new 2024 models. Harley Davidson's got some new touring bikes. And then also Indian Motorcycles got their new Super Chief or whatever that is, the 101. So I might try and see if I can get a test ride on that baby. I haven't got to ride one of those yet. Pretty sure them boys over there at Head Indian will let me take it for a spin if they have one. But what, I'd like to see more of, and I talked to somebody about this at Bikes Blue or at Eureka Springs, because at Bikes Blues and Barbecue, they had BMW test rides a few years ago. And they said that BMW would not be back at BBB this year, and they wouldn't be at Bikefest. They've actually reduced the number of demo trucks they have on the road, and so they have a reduced schedule. And I think that's a shame. When we were at Sturgis, Triumph had demo rides. They were set up at the Buffalo Chip outside, and you could go there and ride Triumphs. They had BMWs somewhere was there and stuff. And I think that it would be good to see other manufacturers start bringing demo trucks in there, giving more people an opportunity to see and ride these motorcycles at this event. I think is a plus for everybody. It's a plus for the people that are interested in them. Gives you something else for an activity to do every year, especially when your new favorite bike comes out. Would you go ride a different brand, Steve, if they brought, the new BMW Cruiser there? Would you give it a test ride just to see what it was like if they were there?
A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have, but the more I'm getting involved in the industry and I'm meeting people in the industry, yeah, I would. I'm starting to realize that, Harley's not the only option out there. I would, and I'd like to see what, how they stack up against BMW and some of these other companies out there. Absolutely.
Yeah, the big old Rocket 3, largest production engine motorcycle. They had those babies at Sturgis as well as other style of bikes and stuff. And so I'd love to see more of those manufacturers get involved in the rally as well and help this thing grow and have a presence there. So the last thing, number 7, is kind of a personal plug. And if you're at Bikefest, we'd love to meet you. Every year I have somebody ask, where will you be, where I can meet you at. So a few years ago, I started doing a planned meet and greet. It doesn't mean I think I'm anybody special. I'm not going to have my feelings hurt if nobody comes. It's just, for those that ask, I decided I would start being at one place at one particular time that people could plan on where they could find me if they wanted to get an opportunity to come say hi and just shoot the shit and have a drink. And so on Saturday, we will be at the Ice Hole where Mr. Bowman is tonight from 11 to 1 and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll probably sit there and have lunch, have a drink, visit with people, and then we're going to go do our thing. In the past, I've done some big giveaway stuff, got items donated from vendors and things like that. I'm not going to do all that this year. quite honestly, it got to the point that vendors expected stuff in return, and I'm just giving this stuff away to people. And then they expect me to start doing work or doing videos for them in return for what they donated. And that's just not where I want to be on YouTube right now. I don't want to owe somebody. If they want to give back to the community, I'd love to use my channel to do that. I've worked, some brands are fine. Some brands don't ask for anything, but some brands do. And so I've kind of backed off from that a little bit this year. I've just been too busy and I didn't want to make those kinds of commitments. So I didn't ask anybody for anything this year. We're just going to be there hanging out. Firecracker might give away a couple of door prizes. She might have some t-shirts printed up. She's been making her own t-shirts now, Steve.
Hey, let me show you. Let me show you this one.
Now, is this one of the PG rated ones? She ain't got her
I was
headphones
gonna
on.
say, why is she running away? Just
No.
change right there.
I know.
Hey.
Salty's in the house, man. How are you, Salty?
We need ratings. Come on.
Bowman said, not yet. It's Hot Summer Nights cruise-in tonight, so mostly cars on the strip. Looking forward to Donnie's benefit run tomorrow. Yes, we are going to be at it. We're going to be doing a benefit run tomorrow at the Lake of the Ozarks. If anybody in that area wants to join us, Leprechauns in the morning, there's breakfast, and it's a $25 donation or fee to go on the dice run with us tomorrow. And all of our friends, we're raising money for a friend of ours there at the Lake of the Ozarks that is fighting cancer again.
Hey, you ready for this?
Witchcraft Cycle Works is also in the house. I just wanted to say they just got home. Want to say hey to them too. Yep. Go ahead.
Are you ready for this?
Is this PG? Okay, this is mine. All right.
Okay.
Riding in the Ozarks.
And that's your bike.
That's my logo from the channel. Okay.
Wait, I got another one.
She's printing them herself.
That's awesome.
She wanted
it's pink and black. No, I wanted purple. But I'm going to offer the females or whoever, I'm going to do different colors if they want like a pink and black one or purple and gray or whatever. I figured it out. Now I just got to do Firecracker once I've got to come up with a new logo for mine because I can't do my logo on this. It'd be way too hard. So
very nice.
Yep.
So I may make some of those up to give away.
Yeah. You know, the other thing
I was going to say, I was afraid she was going to show one of those shirts that she's printing up for BBB.
Oh.
Those are for.
I didn't print a shirt for BBB. I bought it.
Okay.
For my
I thought the one you did for Kelly was for BBB.
No, she just wanted that. So I made her that. But for BBB, our group got together. Mike is I'm a sourpuss. I don't even know. He's a sourpuss. He wouldn't do it with us. But we drew names, and you buy an adult rated shirt for the person you got. So we all got each other shirts to wear one day at BBB. So if you see us all wearing funny shirts that are adult rated, then
if you see her wearing a shirt that says her vaginal warts are finally gone, you'll know why. And there's going to be somebody wearing one that says cum dumpster on the front of it. I promise you, because I know how my friends think. And that's why I'm not wearing one. Mr. Vilified, thank you very much. Hello from Ohio. Love the channel. Thank you.
Sweet.
Witchcraft says we're still hammering out some details. Looks like we have a 10 a.m. appointment. So if they get that done, hopefully they can run up and say hi to us at the meet and greet and visit with everybody and give everybody an opportunity to say hi to Witchcraft Cycle Works as well. I'm sure some people would appreciate that do show up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the nice things about the ice hole is it's right on what they call the Bagnell Strip, which is where all the bars and restaurants are. It's kind of the party center of the lake. So it's, it's a great place to stop, and you can spend literally the whole day there if you wanted to.
It is, and I want to say hey to our buddy XAN Biker, who's also a moderator. So everybody behave or he'll put you in timeout. But, the Bagnell Dam Strip right there has always been like the hot spot, kind of like, especially at night. But there are plenty of places that are party spots all around the lake. I mean, on the west side at the dive bar, at Papa Chubbies, Captain Ron's, all these little resorts. You can hop from one to the other. That's always kind of been a thing there at the lake and stuff. Of course, we don't want to encourage anyone to drink too much and drive, but it's going to be, it's a good time. That's one thing about the strip is you can park and walk from bar to bar to bar. And then, we've caught a ride down there and, like when we did the Mardi Gras thing, we got a ride down there and a ride back and we didn't drive, and that kind of stuff. Carl says Evolve GT track days Friday, motorcycle track day at Ozarks International Raceway with $25 per bike parade laps on the inside loop of the track. So you learn all kinds of good stuff here because I had not heard about that one.
I hadn't either. I wondered if they were going to do anything.
And Witchcraft said, yeah, they're going to try and get their appointment done at 10 and come up and hang out with us at the meet and greet. Salty should come hang out. He could always go over to Papa Chubbies and have a talk with Woody about the bike show, and might be a way to start working his way into them Sturgis bike shows.
Yeah.
What do you think, Salty? Can we get you to the Lake of the Ozarks?
Great time.
It's only a couple of hours from St. Louis, and we can get you there. We could probably get you to Bikefest.
I went to Sturgis. I took my car. Kind of an interesting way to do it. I've never driven a car to Sturgis. But anyway, I talked to some industry leaders, not a ton, but some of them that I've met. And I've told them about Bikefest and just how much this has exploded just in the last 3 or 4 years since the helmet law changed. And they've all heard about it, and they're hearing that it's blowing up. And I think this rally has an opportunity to be really special going forward. I really do.
Well, one of the things to the point of what Road Rush brought up, what Terry said about it being tough to get off. Well, I understand that it might be tough to get off, but I mean, people take a whole week to go to Sturgis. They take a day or two before the weekend, then spend a week up there and a day or two travel back, and they do it for Sturgis. And I get Sturgis is bigger than Bikefest, and it's bigger than Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. But the two together combined could become a Sturgis type event. Now that's 85 years old. We're not there yet. It's going to take time, but you'd spend the first weekend at Bikefest and party there. Then you spend 3 or 4 days riding in the Ozarks, literally, down Highway 76, down in the Branson area, all around you're going to ride around the lake, then leave that area and migrate south, spend a couple days in the Branson area, ride Southwest Missouri, Highway 76, Highway 14, 160, 125. I could keep going. The list is long, but there is some absolutely great riding in southern Missouri. And then you work your way down to Rogers for Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, and you ride the Pig Trail and you ride the Arkansas Dragon and Highway 62, Highway Scenic 7. There's, if you had plenty of time, you go down, ride the Talamina Trail, which is just south of Fayetteville, going down toward, the Steel Horse Rally and down in that area, and then come back up or something. There's enough riding and enough stuff going on with those, 2 events that you could spend a week doing all that stuff easily. And I know because we used to do it. We used to take our vacation the week between Bikefest and Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. And we would take like Friday off, go to the lake on Thursday night, spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday there. And then Sunday afternoon, we'd head south. We spend the 3 or 4 days riding Southwest Missouri, Northwest Arkansas, and then on Thursday, start over at Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, going to, band events and going to Dixon Street, which, is gone. But now we have the Brickyard at Rogers, and we have Pig Trail has a huge collection of vendors there and stuff, and the lake's growing to get to that point. I know the Lake of the Ozarks, Harley Davidson's been advertising. Legends is going to be at their vendor park. Saddleman Seats, different vendors like that are starting to make a presence here. They've really been working hard to get bigger name vendors involved in the last 3 years. And, I think that all those things, if they can hold out, it's going to grow. And I've had people say that, quite honestly, they were going to stop going to Sturgis and they were going to start making that week their vacation because the pricing is better. You pay so much for a week at Sturgis. People are starting to get tired of it and gouged on it and stuff. That's one reason campgrounds are getting bigger there, because the hotels are gouging, the VRBOs are gouging. People are trailering their bikes just so they can bring a camper and their stuff so they can camp, because they can't afford to stay in hotels and rental houses and stuff like they could. Our rental house doubled in price, the same house, from 2019 to 2023. Went from $4,000 to $8,000 in 4 years.
Yeah, the Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest and Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, if you kind of think of them as 10 days, like Sturgis is 10 days, there's a lot of pluses. It's a month later in the year, so it's not so blazing hot. The weather's typically more predictable than up there. There's countless accommodations because there's so many condos and things that you can rent out. You know, they have kitchenettes, so now you can cook it wherever you're staying. In a lot of these places, that's going to save you money. You've got major airports within 3 hours. You got Kansas City, St. Louis, Memphis, Little Rock, Tulsa. So it's centrally located in the United States. There's a lot of reasons why I think this thing's going to sneak up and become not a challenge to Sturgis, because we all love Sturgis, right? But it's just easier. And there's a lot more riding. I mean, there's thousands of miles of riding when you incorporate both areas. Thousands.
Oh, yeah. So Salty said he's working on some things. Lake of the Ozarks is on his radar. So it's good. We want to get it off your radar and on your to-do list. But we'd love to see you there, hang out. I promise, Salty, I can find some place for us to go reminisce old times. Firecrackers grinning. She knows what I'm talking about. Carl said, wow, think of the house you could get at the Lake of the Ozarks for $5,000.
And people don't understand. There's multi-million-dollar estates all up and down the Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, there's some big money down there. Beautiful condos, beautiful homes. It blows people away when they go down there. They can't believe what they see when they get down there.
So check this comment out. That's a pretty high praise here. Your channel is the reason I convinced 4 other Canadians to join me last month to explore Lake of the Ozarks, Rogers, Eureka Springs. I plan on coming back. Fantastic riding.
That's awesome.
That is a big part of what the channel is about. I mean, we talk about all kinds of things. I unfortunately talk about whatever I feel like, and that's not always the right thing. But I do want to make sure people know how amazing the riding is here, and the events that are here. You know, we did 2 weeks ago. We did a benefit ride for my buddy that has cancer. Me and Firecracker and our Freedom of Road Riders local all put this on together, and we did a benefit ride, and it was a poker run and a silent auction, and it rained. I mean, it rained from the first stop till we got back, and it rained hard. You know, I mean, my speedometer still hasn't recovered. The Dyna speedometer went out. It rained so hard, I think it got water inside it, and it no longer works. My self-canceling turns don't work, so I'm thinking I got water in my what they call the turn signal module. And I think that's maybe tied to the speedometer and what's going on there, but I got to figure it out. But, you know, we got soaking wet and we still had a great time. And one of the guys who normally hates riding in that kind of weather still had a good time. So much so he's joining us for the ride tomorrow, you know, because he just had such a great time 2 weeks ago. And that's what it's about. It's going out and having fun, doing it for a good cause, covering some miles down some beautiful highways. You just got to think of that rain as what I like to refer to as liquid sunshine. And I didn't invent that term. A buddy said that when we were doing a benefit one day when it rained, and he said, you just got to look at it as liquid sunshine, but that's the attitude I try and have from now on when that happens to us. And Bill said he's sorry about that because he brings the liquid sunshine with him wherever he goes.
Liquid sunshine. That's not like a golden shower or anything like that. They're not related, are they?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not related. No.
Okay, that's good.
So Zan said, I like BBB, but that 5-hour ride alone is a bitch. Well, Zan, I don't know if you're going this year, but we're going to cut south and take 160 all the way across the bottom of the state. That's the way we came home from the dice run last weekend, and it was a nice ride. We came up 7 and took Peels Ferry across into Missouri, rode up 125 and hit 160, and hauled butt across the bottom of the state on 160, and then cut north when we got closer to home. So we're gonna have lunch in West Plains and ride from there on across on 160. So if you can make West Plains by lunchtime, you're welcome to ride with us.
I saw his post, and we all love Zan, and I understand what he's saying. But my point earlier, would you rather do a 5-hour run, or would you rather do a 15, 20-hour run to Sturgis?
Yeah.
It's just so much easier for most people. And especially where there's population, it's so much easier to get to the middle part of the country versus the Sturgis area.
Yeah. So Carl said Ozarks Amphitheater has 3 nights of nice concerts. 2 tickets for each night is $100. So $50 a night per person. They have different concerts, 3 different nights and stuff. For anybody that wants to know more about Bikefest, I would definitely recommend you check out the Lake of the Ozarks Bikefest website. They have a lot of stuff on there. Last time I looked a few days ago, there was still some to be determined stuff kind of things being filled in and stuff, but the website's pretty filled in. I want to talk about Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue a little bit. Their website's got a lot to be determined still. And for a rally that is technically supposed to be bigger than Bikefest, I'm going to say it tonight because I don't know if we're going to talk about it again, but I'm kind of disappointed in their music lineup. Everywhere's got, some local band. I don't know who George and his 2 brothers are. I don't know that doesn't give me a reason to come to the rally. I go for other reasons, and that's okay. But for the people that are looking for bands and entertainment and stuff like that, as big as Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue is, they really need to pick up the effort they put into the entertainment aspect of it, the bands and stuff. Have some tribute bands, have one big, name act like, Jackal or, a Quiet Riot, an old 80s band or something that you can get an affordable price, get some cover bands, something.
Yeah, I could kind of go off on Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue a little bit if you want me to.
Well, be gentle, but go ahead.
So first and foremost, it's my favorite rally. I like it even more than Sturgis because I love to ride, and I prefer to ride over partying. And so I'm not slamming on that part of it. For me, it still works. But, I noticed that they're still not closing down the streets like in my opinion, they need to in downtown Rogers. It tells me that the merchants still haven't been sold on the concept of how they can make money with this rally. I see a lot more effort, in my opinion, being made at Bikefest at the Lake of the Ozarks versus what I'm seeing from Rogers. Would you agree with that?
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. I will say, I'm going to try and find it here. They did put a post out about cutting out, the traffic on the street in downtown Rogers. There's
like after 5,
they are blocking the streets off them. Well, and that's what I was trying to find, so I could be,
that needs to be all day long. I've said it.
Well, I think it should start at noon on Thursday, and they should be bike only traffic from noon on Thursday or Thursday morning till Sunday morning.
They have the blueprint right there in Sturgis. and it tells me that they haven't done any research on how to best accommodate a motorcycle rally. I'm a little bit disappointed. I really am. Still love the rally. It's still my favorite rally, but I think it could be so much more. But I can't. My sense is that there's some tensions between the powers that be of that area of the state.
Rogers has not fully embraced it.
I don't think so. That's what I'm seeing.
At least that's how you feel.
Yeah, and then you've got Pig Trail Harley Davidson that's just busting their ass to put on a great rally experience, and they're killing it. That's definitely my favorite place to go.
I found the post here about the downtown Rogers area and stuff, and kind of to your point, I follow Lake of the Ozarks Bikefest and I follow BBB, and I promise you that Lake of the Ozarks social media is doing 10 times the job that Bikes, Blues, and Barbecues. And whether Bike, Blues, and Barbecues just doesn't feel like they got to, that people are going to come either way. But Bikefest is putting out a lot of effort to get a lot of information out there to show support to the businesses that are supporting it, that are involved in the passport run. I didn't mention the passport run as a particular individual item because they do that every year. But guess what they're giving away this year, Steve?
I'm sure it's kick ass.
2023 Lowrider ST.
I need that.
Kick-ass. Yeah, I was just going to say, I know somebody that wants that in purple.
No, I want the tobacco fade.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See if you agree with me here, Mike. In the last 3 or 4 years since the helmet law changed in Missouri, when I go to the websites, Facebook pages and stuff of Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue and Bikefest, in this last 3 or 4 years, look at all the things that have happened at the Lake of the Ozarks. How many more events there are, bands, bars, merchants that are jumping on this thing. I think they're just kicking ass.
I do. And, you're right about the parking. Again, I don't think this is sufficient. It is 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Thursday through Friday and 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Saturday. Why even bother allowing somebody in for, 4 or 5 hours on Saturday morning, and you're going to have to turn around and deal with trying to get them out to have room for the bike parking if you let them in? Why would you not? If nothing else, why wouldn't you say from, noon on Friday till Sunday morning, it's bike only? Why would you give them that 5 hours or 7 hours just to screw traffic up for the next day?
And, and I guarantee if you talk to somebody in Sturgis and you say, why do you shut it down the whole rally? It's because people will park there. How are you going to get them to move?
Right. Once they park their
vehicle, park their car in there, they're there.
Write them a ticket, tow them, but then they're going to create disgruntled local people that are going to be mad at them, and it's going to hurt the rally again. The better thing's just keep them out.
Keep them out. Go all in or don't go in. One, either in or out. In my opinion.
Salty heard a rumor. He heard that Aurora, Colorado is biker friendly.
Yeah, I wish that was true, but I as soon as I heard that rumor, I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah. Well, all the videos are not legit videos. People are using footage from some ride and then stacking their title on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you look at their cuts. Hardly anybody had a cut. Maybe 2 guys.
Right, because I'm pretty sure the Hells Angels are not mixing and mingle with civilians on a ride to Aurora, Colorado.
No,
just saying. My experience with 1% clubs, that's not how that flies.
No.
All right, Steve. What is on your to-do list for Bikefest this year, besides having hot, steamy,
Finding a
sex
lady
in
friend.
yeah, well, lady friend or whatever it does it
Yeah.
for you. I don't really care as long as I don't have to watch.
Yeah. So I got kind of a cool thing going on. So, well, it's cool. It's cool, but it's not cool. A friend of mine from growing up in my childhood, he lost his son in a car accident about 10 years ago. And his brother, who was really close to his son, has created a memorial run for him every year. And so the last couple of years, they've had it at Lake of the Ozarks because it's gotten so kick ass. And they're going to have it again there this year. So part of probably Friday or Saturday, one of those two, I'm going to lead a run out of off Highway 42 towards St. Louis and do our loop, which is, great riding out through there.
So you're gonna ride 42. How far?
I'm going to take it to Bell.
It doesn't. You okay? You can take it all the way across 63 to Bell, and then you're gonna go back up north out of Bell, back up
Going to go north to Westphalia, and then loop back on over to Eldon and back down.
So when you come from Westphalia to Eldon, that'll be good across there.
Yeah.
You'll be going through like Taos and St. Elizabeth in that area.
Yep.
When you get across 63 between Vienna and Bell, there's a 90-degree curve out there, and you do want to watch it because I have seen people almost not make it because it sneaks up on them and they're not looking
Hey.
for it.
Yeah, I think I know exactly where you're talking. And I actually did that in my car a couple years ago when I met up with you guys in St. Louis for the bike show. So luckily I was on four wheels, but yeah, I think I know where you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen experienced riders, clinching to get through that turn.
Yeah. So that's probably the number one thing I'm looking forward to. The other thing I'd say too is last year, didn't we have threats of rain? Seems like to me a lot of my group bailed on it, and I said
we were only there for Friday. So I mean, I didn't really have any rain, but
yeah, so a lot of
there the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of the guys I like to ride. I got a pretty cool group of people I ride with here locally in Kansas City, and a lot of them bailed out. So they're all in this year. I mean, I talked to anyone in Kansas City, and that's all the buzz. The buzz is can't wait for Bikefest this year. Like I said, I think it's catching on. It's becoming a can't miss type rally, and I think if anybody goes down there, they're going to have a ball. Because it brings different things to the table that most rallies. You've got tons of shopping. So if you bring your wife or girlfriend, she doesn't want to ride one day, she can shop all day. Got great restaurants and bars. It's set up. It's set up for tourism. So everything's already built in. All you got to do is come and show up.
Well, Love and Bikes just said that I haven't gone to Bikefest in a few years because it seemed a little lackluster, but hearing you guys talk about it, I'll have to check it out this year. I may even take a day off work. Well, we will be there starting Thursday night. So, watch it out on social media in case we post we're doing something or going somewhere. But there's in the last few years, there's been more rides. I'm sure Carl can talk about it. I know there's a ride, I think, to support veterans on the west side that AMVETS or somebody, VFW or somebody puts on. I think that's on Friday. Yeah, there he just commented on it. Do you know about the veterans ride from Camdenton VFW to Sunrise Beach on Friday? Kickstands up at 11:30. They do that every year. So there's a veterans ride. There's this charity ride with Woody. I think the Badgers are putting on a ride on Saturday. So there's a ride now, Friday or Saturday, different days with different groups that you can do. The bars are not for everybody, but for some people, that's a big part of why they go. For us, we don't go for the riding as much because it's literally just over an hour away. We're going to be up there tomorrow. We're going to do rides up there tomorrow. We were up there a couple weeks ago. Coming back from Kansas City, we rode through there. So, 225
more of a
bikes last
party?
year, police escort on the veterans ride.
Sorry to interrupt. So is it more of a party rally for you in April?
Yeah, I mean, I like to go ride the demo bikes if I have time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the vendors are cool. I'm glad they've got better vendors there, so I can go check out maybe the Saddleman seat in person, or check out Tab exhaust. They're going to be there in person. Those are
Yeah.
things that before I started going to Sturgis and Daytona, I really wanted Bikefest to have, because it was it was the rally I went to, was Bikefest, and Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue was the only rally of the year in this area that had all the vendors, and you could really like go check out the bars or the exhaust before you bought it.
Yep.
So having that grow at Bikefest, I think, is great. It's definitely been a thing that I think some people are into. Not everybody goes to a rally to buy parts, and that's okay. But the idea is to have something for everybody. But they've got stunt show, 12 o'clock shop is rolling this year, I think, at the Harley dealer or one of the vendor villages. So they've got stunt shows going, they've got rides going, they've got bike shows going. This, Woody's putting on a legit bike show with awards and prizes. Cycle Showcase is doing a bike exhibit. Basically, it's a bike show, but it's as art, and it's awesome. It's amazing. I really think that they have added 2 days worth of stuff in the last couple of years. The flat track race, to me, that's a big deal. And that's new this year. So I'm, I definitely agree. They are putting more and more into this, where it feels like BBB is putting less and less into it. I mean, I kind of raked them over the coals last year, and I still feel the same way. There's no bike show. When you went to Dixon Street before, there was a big bike show. There were big bands. I understand there's bands at the rail yard, and Bob and Tam made the comment that the lake is more bars and they're more into the bands, and BBB's not. BBB should be, though, with 300,000 people and with the amphitheater and the rail yard. They should be doing Jackal. They should be doing something. The auditorium last year in Eureka Springs had Quiet Riot or somebody. I can't remember who they had, but they had some,
True.
older rock band that still tours at the auditorium in Eureka Springs during Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. This year, none of that. Less. I did still no bike show. The year they were supposed to have the bike show, when they started back up in Rogers, the person who put it on had passed away. I gave him a pass on not getting it done that year, but they have had 2 years to find somebody to put on a bike show, and it hasn't happened. And that's a problem, in my opinion. I mean, it's a problem that, from my perception, somebody who goes to this and has been going to it for years, it's offering me less and less to do. And I'm okay with riding, but we were in Northwest Arkansas 2 weeks ago. I could ride whatever roads I wanted to and not have to fight traffic. During BBB, there's going to be a lot of bikes there.
Yeah. And maybe that's their goal. Maybe their goal is that, hey, we've got thousands of beautiful miles of riding to do. That's why we want you here. I don't know.
Bob and Tam said, where would you do a bike show at? Well, that's simple. They gave up the convention center. They had all kinds of room there, and they had demo rides over there. They could have done the bike show over there. Yeah, that's scattered out, but they wanted to do it somewhere else. I promise you can find something somewhere near Pig Trail Harley Davidson to have one if you wanted, or you could do one at the parking lot in Eureka Springs at the Harley Davidson parking lot there. Because the only thing they got going in and out there's demo rides. They could do their one there. They have vendors over there, but they could, make room. There's room somewhere to have it.
I may be wrong, but there's this part I know I'm right on. There's a minor league baseball team down there in the Fayetteville Rogers area, and I think they may have had a bike show there one year. That would be a great spot. It's right off the Interstate 49. It's paved the whole way over to the ballpark. Had plenty of parking there. It'd be a perfect spot for a bike show.
Well, Witchcraft talked about doing a bike show, trying to get something established, whether they have it in Eureka Springs or they have it somewhere else. They had one for Spring Fling, and Pig Trail donated some prize stuff for it and stuff. And that was a good time. they had bike shows before at Dixon Street, the same place they had all the bands. Essentially, that's what the Brickyard is now. They could do that there. There's places there, a side street they could block off for that. They blocked off a side street for a stunt show a couple years ago, and nobody went to it because nobody could find it because they, just didn't advertise well where it was going to be and when it was going to be. But they could do the bike show there at the rail yard as well. Salty said that my son and I are doing the Detroit Randy's Dam Show this year. That would be very cool. Congratulations. It's the same weekend as Lake of the Ozarks. Okay.
I met Detroit Randy at at Sturgis this year. Good guy. Nice guy.
He was at Cycle Showcase too, if you didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah, when we were in St. Louis.
I didn't know who he was yet. So and the way I met him, I'm not gonna bring it up out of respect for the person that I went to see. But yeah, what a cool dude.
I'm pretty sure he was at Randy's show in St. Louis, wasn't he, Salty? I didn't talk to him, but I thought I saw him there. And he was definitely at Daytona. We didn't meet him at Daytona, but he had his own show at Daytona as well. So, Firecracker, what are you looking forward to most at Bikefest this year?
You already found the love of your life.
Relaxing, and our friend's pool at his condo, and to park my bike at least one night and ride with my husband so I can get trashed.
So you're saying I got to leave the bungee cords on the Dyna? If
Keeping
I take
it real.
No, you've never had to use bungee cords on me
yet. You're getting older.
Yeah.
You might not be able to hold up like you used to.
Listen here, buddy.
So Salty
can't
confirmed.
hold up as much.
So yeah, XAN confirmed that he was there, and Salty said, yeah, he invited us from St. Louis. So getting trashed. So it sounds like it's a party weekend for her. I'm babysitting again.
I didn't quite follow
You've never
that
had to
gentleman that
babysit.
said something about the raceway, but for spring fling, I don't know if it was the Lake of the Ozarks Harley Davidson set that up or not, but somehow they were going to allow us to get onto that racetrack.
Ozark Rides Rally.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about that for Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue? I haven't heard anything.
That was the racetrack. That was at the lake. That was
that's what
for
I meant.
Ozark Rides Rally.
Yeah, I meant at the lake.
So that's what he was talking about earlier. Carl said that they were going to, for $25 a person, they were going to let you do parade laps at Ozark International Raceway. That's that racetrack on the west side. So
for those that don't know anything about this racetrack, this thing is badass and it's fairly new. And I'm telling you, I would gladly pay $25 to ride my motorcycle on this racetrack.
Now it says parade laps. That means you can't be dragging knees and scraping elbows.
Which I think is what they did in this earlier event this year, right? Where it was all controlled. You couldn't, go 200 miles an hour or anything. But even then, that would be badass because that track is badass.
All right, Firecracker. We're gonna let you put in some input here because we have a question from David. David said he arrives in 2 days for Bikefest. What are some must-stop at bars and saloons?
Bars and saloons. We mainly hang out at the Ice Hole. I would recommend going to the Great American Dive Bar. There's all kinds of them along there that we've been to on the other side that are pretty neat. Is it Whiskey Dick's?
Whiskey Dick's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you were a little delayed there.
What's the little one in the little center that we always laugh at? It's just a little bitty bar.
You talking about
Glory
Lucy's?
Hole.
Oh, the Glory Hole?
The Glory Hole.
Yeah,
you got to go to the Glory Hole.
No,
that's our first stop.
The
Glory Hole.
But there's several around there, but if you want to go for like during the day, if you go down the strip, there's bars all down there.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't
if you
really hang out. We usually hang out at the ice hole back behind. But if you
snafus
want to go
definitely.
like for bands of an evening, I would.
You got a big delay, honey. I
We
can hear you talking in
don't
the
ever
other
hang
room.
out
And
at Snafu really. So
I've been to Snafu. I went and had shots with Adam at Snafu. And took Jeff to Snafu. It's right there in front of Ice Hole. But Snafu is also one of the guys that sponsors the beer garden down there. So we want to give him a shout out because he's involved in making that shit happen. But I've been into Snafu, the Dam Bar.
but what I was good. No, I would. I was. Am I still delayed?
Yes, I hear you come through the computer about 4 or 5 seconds after you talk in there.
She's good on my end.
But you
Okay,
can't hear
so-
her in real time. I can.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so what about if you want to go to a bar for of an evening to listen to music and stuff, I would say the Encore or Horny Toads because they both have really good bands usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Encore's a definite. Lucy's is one that's pretty popular on the strip.
It's just little bitty, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong going on the strip and going to any of them. Food on the strip, I like Casablanca's. They've got really
Mhm.
good pizza, things
Yep.
like that. So I mean, there's just too many to even think about.
The one I'm trying to think that we go to Backwater Jack's. That's a good on the lake bar. It's not
Yeah.
very far off the strip to get down there, but they have like a deck and a patio looking right out over their dock and marina area and stuff. That's a good one to go to. And that's in between the strip and the Harley dealer.
You know, the one that I think everybody's got to hit, and it's kind of fun to ride to because it's like 8 or 9 miles off the main drag, is Big Dick's Halfway In, and they've got a big shop.
They're more than 8 or 9 miles off the main drag. They're 8 or 9 miles or more off of Highway 5.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to kind of ride down there too. You might want to be careful on how much you drink because it is kind of a windy, twisty, narrow road. But they got cool shirts and hats and all that shit that they peddle out of there. But I would definitely strongly recommend going there. Frankie and Louie's, another good place. Right
Camden on the lake will have Machine Gun Symphony playing on those nights. So David asked, are we doing a ride or meet and greet? We will be doing a meet and greet Saturday afternoon or Saturday day, midday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ice Hole, which is down on Bagnell Dam. Just hanging out, having a few cold drinks and visiting with people. Carl said Otami's 1776 bar,
Yeah.
both great day stops. Also, Leprechaun's Corner is a good one.
If you're a country guy, Chicks and Dicks is a big nightclub dancing place off Highway 5.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you do social media, get on the Lake of the Ozarks Bikefest social media page. They've got all kinds of businesses that are sponsoring the event, advertised there. The Bikefest webpage, but you could just do some research on Lake of the Ozarks and you're going to find all kinds of bars. I can't think of a particular bar that I would tell someone to not go to. Can you, Firecracker?
No, we've never had bad luck at any of them.
I agree. They're all biker friendly as far as I know. I've been to most of them.
That's one of the things about Lake of the Ozarks. It's a tourist town. It lives off tourism. They know that this is their bread and butter, and Bikefest is kind of the end of the tourist season for them. So this is their last big chance to make, big crowds come in. So
Yep.
they embrace this and they really, try and pull out the stops and make everybody feel welcome.
100% agree.
Trying to think anything else they need to know. Dog Days. Dog Days is another bar and grill on the water. Remember where that one is, Firecracker, just past the bridge?
Yep.
Yeah, we ain't going there.
Not that one. That's not the one where you had the nacho problem. Dog Days is down at the end of that. She ordered nachos and they let them set under the heat lamp, and her was probably the first food done, and we had to go back and ask for it after everybody else got their food, and she didn't get it, and they were well done nachos. Just from the heat lamp.
Well, everybody will want to. I mean, a lot of vendors are out at the Harley dealer out there. And then Horny Toads usually has vendors out there. And it looked like when we were driving that they were kind of starting to move them out in other places like they do in Sturgis, didn't?
Yeah, there's on Highway 5 right there when you get ready to cross the bridge and go up toward the Glory Hole, there's another vendor parked there now.
It's something that I like to do is I like to plan my rides in the morning, and then in the afternoons when it's nice and hot, I throw on the swim trunks, and there's a lot of really cool swim up bars down there that have popped up in the last 10 years. Coconuts, tap and grill, and
there's a Margaritaville that's got a swim up bar. It's out. Like you go out towards the Harley and you turn on a road and then you got to go back in there. But it's now called Margaritaville. They say it's really nice. I've never been there. So
it's the old Tantera for those that know what Tantera was.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got the tunes rocking nice and loud. They usually got some TVs going. It's just a great time. I love hitting the pool bars.
So David, who said he's going to be there in 2 days, is coming from Rapid City, South Dakota, and this is his first rally he's been to aside from Sturgis every year. So he's really excited for this. It is going to be different than Sturgis. I mean, but it is a good time, especially if you like a party atmosphere. And if you're looking for rides, there's rides on Harley Davidson's website. One of the things you can also do that'll help you get familiar with the area is they have the passport run. And you can buy a passport at different places, but essentially you pay like $25 for this book. And then you have like 22 stops you go to and you get it stamped. And by doing the passport run, you're going to learn where a lot of places are. You're going to learn your way around the lake because you have to find all 22 places and get it stamped. You turn that in. And then on Sunday morning, they draw a winner from whoever turns in the passport. And that person's going to win a 2023 Lowrider ST. You can pick the passport up, I know, at the Harley dealer and at Leatherman's. And you get on the website, look for the passport run, and you'll find out where you can pick them up at.
I'm thinking we need to take off of work Thursdays to go do that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a manager's meeting at 2:30. So we may have to, if we take off early, I may have to stop on the side of the road for 30 minutes and do a WebEx.
I didn't say take off early. I said take off that day. We could go down the morning, then you'd be around somewhere where you could do that. Just saying.
Yeah, we could do that. We could take off and I could find someplace to hole up for 30 minutes or an hour to do the WebEx.
I'd share with David too that as you're coming south to the lake, you're not going to be impressed. But once you get to the lake is when it gets the hills you start seeing those. And Mike, you know way better than me, but I would say that the best riding is probably east and south of the lake. Would you agree with that?
I can't say that I've done a lot of riding west of the lake, but like I went to Warsaw earlier this week, which is out 54, and it's not particularly exciting. It's not bad, but it's not particularly exciting or anything. If I'm going to do a ride in the lake area, I'm going to probably either go out of Camdenton, hit, Montreal, that area, roll around, maybe go all the way to Richland, come back up 133 or 7 up to Brumley, Highway 42, like you talked about doing, and coming back and across through St. Elizabeth and Tuscumbia. But there's some really good, 2-lane roads back out there. Make sure you fill up your tank before you get out there, because there's not gas at every stop. But those are some great riding. 42 is good riding,
Really good.
I really personally, one of my favorites is that road through St. Elizabeth, coming back over to Tuscumbia. I like to come from Taos and come down into St. Elizabeth. So like when you come back from Westphalia, I think that's the way you're going to come, is probably you're going to come out of Westphalia and back down into Meta, and then through St. Elizabeth and back.
Yep.
That is one of my favorite rides up there.
Me too. And there's one section over there where you're coming around a bend, and I don't think you really realize it, but you're on a bluff, probably not far from the river. And then all of a sudden there's this nice downhill run, and there's a bridge down there. And I mean, you can let it go, baby.
Oh, you talking about on 42?
No, I think it's after St. Elizabeth as you're heading to
because you're coming into Tuscumbia from St. Elizabeth, that big downhill.
All of a sudden there's this just nice, beautiful straightaway, and there's fields on both sides, so you get good peripheral to make sure nothing, deer or anything are coming out at you. And I've done that run the last 2 years, and needless to say, we were flying.
Yep. That road out of Bell, where you're talking about going north, I think that's D Highway. It starts out as D, and then D cuts to the right, and it goes on up, comes through probably. I assume you're going to come into Rich Fountain on E. If you want, you might go further and come in. Yeah, you're going to go into Rich Fountain and jog 63 up to Westphalia, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm going to cut over through Rich Fountain and then catch 53 up to Westphalia. Yep, that was my plan.
Yeah, Highway 87 up by Boonville's not bad. I've rode that. That's that road we rode with Scott Firecracker.
With Scott.
Yeah, remember we left Versailles and went north and met my buddy Scott and rode around up there and then come back and partied with him in Columbia that night.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I rode with you that time, though. I didn't ride my own.
Yeah, that's rare that happens anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. The only time she gets on the back of my bike is if she wants to go drinking. I couldn't even get her to ride with me to go dinner the other night.
So she's on there all the time.
She's like, why would I want to ride with you?
She's scared of the safety strap. Can't blame her.
She's not scared of anything.
Thus the term firecracker.
Anybody else got any questions about Bikefest? Anything they want to ask or add?
What's the deal with pot? There's some new big buildings that are dealing with pot, and I'm not a pot smoker.
There's a dispensary on 5 there, or
there's several of them.
Yeah, it seems like there's more and more that every time I go down there, there's a new one. Is it
because it's legal?
Do you know the laws?
It's legal in Missouri.
It's legal.
Whether it's medical or
we have recreational marijuana laws now. We have recreational marijuana.
Yeah, there's another big reason to come down.
Well, that's a big reason. Not for me personally.
But for a lot of bikers.
But for a lot of people. We have friends from Arkansas who are like, let's go to Missouri just for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, absolutely. Know a lot of people that being able to smoke marijuana is a big deal to them. I get paranoid as hell. Just doesn't work.
I gave it up 30 years ago.
I think the FBI, the CIA, the National Guard are all running toward me, wanting to shoot me.
I would say for anybody also, the ride around the lake's not a bad way to get to kind of experience the lake. There is a what's known as the ride around the lake. You take out of the north side of off of 54 there on the northeast corner of the lake, just north of Bagnell Dam there. That's Highway W. You'll take that out and you'll come in basically all the way up there at Versailles. Then you can run 5 down all the way to you cross over and get close to Camdenton. And then you cut back across on Business 54, and you'll see a lot of the businesses and stuff. And you'll end up back down at Bagnell Dam. They'll take you past the Harley dealer and some of the vendor parks and things like that. For people who are not familiar, Lake of the Ozarks has more shoreline than the state of California. This lake has got all these, if you zoom in on the map, all these little twisty, coves and inlets and stuff. And it's a big lake, and it's actually got more shoreline than the state of California.
Yeah, it's huge. In fact, how about this, Mike? Would you recommend to somebody new in the area to maybe do the lake loop their first day? Because you are going to get a chance to see a lot of places to go hang out.
Well, if you're there early enough, and you got the time, I would definitely do it, or I would do the passport to, either one's a good way to get your feet wet and get around there.
And would you say that loop's probably what, 2 hours to do?
Yeah. If you're, but if you're going to stop like at Great American Dive Bar or somewhere and have lunch, cause it's right there on the loop, or, pull into Big Whiskey's or somewhere Taboo for a burger or something like that. You might spend longer than that, but it's a good way to go about it. David says stay in the Osage Beach area. Kevin asked, do you know if they're going to do any changes down there, Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue? They have not put out a lot of information. I've talked to Jeff with Cat House. He was going to see if he could get somebody to do a live with us before Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, and maybe we can get some more information out. But I don't know that is going to happen this year. They've just not been very vocal about stuff. There was also a question here: which clubs will likely show up? Traditionally, you'll see Galloping Goose. You'll see. I don't know how much you'll see of them this year because they've had some trouble in the area. One year we saw a lot of Mongols, but I don't know that they have a chapter in the lake area anymore. I'm sure the Hells Angels in Missouri will show up. They usually have not a big showing, but there's a chapter here that'll probably come up and hang out. And sometimes they vend and sell support gear and stuff like that. I don't know that I've ever seen the Invaders from St. Louis over at the lake, but I wouldn't be surprised. But we've had some clubs, they definitely do show up, but they don't tend to bother anybody. They kind of stay to themselves. I know one place they showed up, they went in and they paid the bar to basically have the bar to themselves for a few hours and paid the staff well and treated everybody with respect. And the bar was pleased, with the outcome. They took good care of the bartenders and the waitresses and stuff. So, there was some trouble a few years ago at the lake, but it wasn't during the rally. I don't expect anything during the rally to worry about.
No, I've never seen or heard anything that would make me nervous when it comes to that. And my theory is, and I've been to Sturgis a number of times and other big rallies, and it makes sense if I'm right. I mean, they don't want trouble. They've got an agenda. They have, bylaws. They have things that, are important to them. And getting in trouble at a rally wouldn't make any sense. So if anyone out there is worried about 1% clubs, I don't think you need to worry.
For anybody coming out of state, I do want to, mention that Missouri is a constitutional carry state. You don't have to have a concealed permit to carry. But you are, I think, not supposed to have a firearm on you inside of an establishment that serves liquor. Worst case, they're going to ask you to leave, but that is kind of the frowned upon thing. So make sure if you are in an establishment that has a liquor license, you keep it concealed. Don't open carry into a bar. You're probably going to get asked to put it up. Yeah, Zan mentioned that he hasn't seen much advertising for Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue this year. Last year, he saw all kinds of stuff on social media.
I'm trying to remember. Is the guy that runs this is first name Tommy?
Tommy Sizemore.
Yeah. I'd be interested to hear what he has to say. I don't know if he'd want to go on the record on on a live or anything, but my sense is that he might be as frustrated as we are. Because there's
Tommy's
a lot
not.
of
If he is, he's not going to say anything because
nah,
he's got multiple hats he wears in the
yeah,
area. So I
yeah.
can
He's
tell you, anything
my
he's going to say is going to be politically correct because he
right.
has to live there.
Let me ask you this: Would based on what you're seeing, would you say that he's probably as frustrated as we are?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. One of my concerns, and it's nothing against Tommy, but one of my concerns is he has too many hats on to be the director of this. I found out last year they farmed their social media stuff out to some firm. So they don't have like anybody who's actually close to the rally doing it. And that's why people weren't getting answers on social media stuff because the farm doesn't, the social media company doesn't know the answers, and that's a problem. And I get it, but there needs to be somebody who's close to the rally, at least monitoring the comments after these companies make these posts or whatever else. So I don't know.
Well, doesn't that kind of answer our question? I mean, they farmed their PR off on some firm that doesn't even really know much about the event. That kind of tells me what I need to know right there.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it. But, hey, 87 Ricer, David Staniza, I'm hoping I'm not butchering your last name too badly, is the HD dealer there large. At the lake, I wouldn't describe them as being large. I mean, they're not a hole in the wall, but the lake is a tourist town, so it thrives in the summer and is dead in the winter. So there's not a large population there year round to support a big dealership. But they've got, a big parking lot. He's put some money into the facility to support this event. He's got a big parking lot with vendors there, demo rides. He always has the demo truck there. They'll have, shirts, they'll have food, they'll have bands.
They're full service.
It's not like Black Hills by no means,
No.
but it depends on what you're coming to the rally for. If you're coming for vendors, this is probably not the best rally for that. If you're coming for rides and parties, there's plenty of that.
Yeah, he's full service. I mean, he's got the apparel. He's got a small section of bikes, not a ton of options on bikes, but then he's also got a service center. So, if you break down or something, he can help you.
And they'll have a tent outside full of bikes.
Yeah, it's definitely a spot that you want to hit because he's probably got the biggest vendor village down there. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I would say generally the best vendors will be there. Yeah, Schmidt Law Firm, my boys there will be there. So anything like that, it just, you got to, understand what it is you're coming for. If you're coming for vendors and that kind of thing, it's not going to be like Sturgis. If you're coming for bars and party scene, you're going to get more of that. It's going to be a little more spread out than Sturgis is. It's not like you can walk 4 blocks and there's a bar, on every corner that is 2 stories tall with, tons and tons and tons of people. But when you walk down the strip, there is a bar every, 100 feet, and they're just little smaller bars, and they're more like dive bars, but it's a good time and we enjoy it. But there's lots of bars in the area. There's more riding, and you're not good. I mean, there'll be police there at Lake of the Ozarks. Don't get me wrong. They'll be blocking the main strip off so that cars aren't running through there and it's bike only and things like that. But, I think the police presence there is not hassling like Sturgis is. They're not looking for every little excuse to stop you like they tend to be at Sturgis. But it's more spread out. There's more riding, scenic riding from one spot to the next kind of thing. Lots of entertainment, good time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, it's a tourist destination, so they make money on tourism, so they're not going to want to bust your balls. You're going to have to earn them to pay attention to you. As long as you're just being a smart person, doing the right thing, you shouldn't have any trouble with law enforcement.
Hey, Sparky, thanks for joining us. Sparky's also a member of the channel. So David asked a question about the MoCo and sales and all the publicity they've had recently. And I think, do you think sales have or will slow further? I saw they're running lower interest rates to get people on bikes. I'm going to be honest. They were predicting before all this bad publicity came out to be down 5 to 10%. So if they're down 5 to 10%, that doesn't tell me anything because they were already predicting that. Now, if they're down 20%, then I'll know it had an impact. But I'm not going to know that till at least third quarter's reports come out, which is going to be October. Stock's not really been affected by this bad publicity as much as people screaming up and down want to say that they're making a difference and that they made Harley Davidson change their policies on DEI. If you really look into it, there wasn't a lot there to begin with. There was a lot of sensationalism and not a lot of, what was being said. It was a lot of that was not really accurate, in my opinion. And I did some research on it. And so people on the left have done research on it and said, who cares if Harley Davidson dropped their DEI policies because they weren't really doing anything anyway. And they've criticized them for that. So me and Steve talked about that. I shared an article with him where the other side, the coin's raking them over the coals saying this doesn't mean anything because they weren't doing anything to begin with. So the left says they weren't doing enough. The right says they're doing too much. It's all a matter of perspective, and you really got to do your fact checking and decide for yourself. The fact is both sides use statistics and use things to run the narrative that suits their purpose. And you just got to learn to filter through the bullshit and make up your mind for yourself. As far as sales go, I hear from some people online that a lot of dealers have a lot of bikes. I don't know that I've stepped foot in another dealership in months besides Renegade Harley Davidson because we've been going there for parts and for events and stuff. And Renegade did not have a lot of bikes on the floor. I mean, they're not packed. They have sold a lot of bikes, but they were going through an ownership change and they were moving inventory like left and right. So as of the 1st of September here, as of this week, it is now Teddy Morris's Renegade Harley Davidson.
And David, to answer your last question, I've seen from multiple internet people that Sturgis, that Black Hills Harley Davidson had their largest number of sales this year that they've had. So
they were in their top 3 years out of 85 years.
Yeah. So apparently it didn't. Here's what I see the difference on. Let's go back to Bud Light. Well, there's lots of other beers to drink other than Bud Light, but in our genre, the people watching this, there's one bike. I mean, I'm not getting rid of my heart. I have 2 Harley Davidsons. I'm not getting rid of either one of them. Okay. Because I don't want to ride anything else. And I think that might be a big part of the difference between this guy going after Bud Light versus Harley Davidson.
Well, Sparky says Teddy Morris has family all over Florida. His dad was Ed Morris, and they own several car dealerships. The Ed Morris Group is growing in my state, in Missouri. So there was an article about Teddy Morris taking over, buying out Renegade and stuff. But just locally in the last 2 years, they've bought 2 car dealerships in my hometown. They bought a Honda dealership 25 miles away. And now this Harley dealership that just places I personally know that are right here that, touch me in some form or fashion. One of my friends that I've known since I was 10 years old works for one of the car dealerships and has met him. He also rides a bike and he said he was a very cool dude. For everything I've heard, he's a motorcyclist. He's a rider. He's also a businessman. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to give you a free bike just because he rides bikes, but he's very much wanting to support our lifestyle and see things be success. Bob and Tam said Black Hills sold 628 bikes, 100 more than last year.
That was one of my sources.
Yep. You know, Sparky mentioned they own Daytona HD dealerships. Yeah, I knew they bought out Ross Myers. I remember when that happened. David said, have a great night, all packing to head your way. Got to run. Maybe we'll run into you down there. Be great to hear from you, David. If you do Facebook or Instagram, you can always shoot us a message on there. Riding in the Ozarks, I'm not that hard to find. I try and keep an eye on that stuff while I'm out and about. Maybe we can grab a burger or get a beer or sweet tea or whatever suits you.
I'd also say, hey, David, if you're stopping in Kansas City for the night, try to hit Knuckleheads. Great blues music venue that caters to bikers.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else? Salty said the economy has an effect on sales more than the publicity. I believe that, and a lot of the comments on my channel are from people who are politically activists, not bikers. You know, I had a couple of bikers or a couple of people comment on some post I made, and I'm a Harley Davidson sellout, and I'm a paid for spokesperson and this and that. And the fact is, Harley Davidson didn't have anything to do with the videos I put out, and they didn't know I was going to put them out. I did hear back from them afterwards. I had a couple of comments, with the sales thing going to Thailand, I got an official statement from them. And so I reach out to them, and I can hear stuff from them, but they don't tell me what to put on my channel. They've never asked me to make a video about any particular thing. They just appreciate having the opportunity to, give their statement or their side of things if something comes up, and that's how we roll. And they've, given me some opportunity, sure, to come ride some motorcycles, but that doesn't mean I owe them anything. They're hoping that I ride those motorcycles and I talk about them, and they expect, that I'm going to say the truth about whatever I feel. And that's what I do. And that was one of the comments that they made when I got to meet some of those guys in person, is that, I'm fair. I at least try and look at both sides of things. I don't just, and I try and give them an opportunity to share their side of their perspective on things when they can. Some things they can comment on, some things they can't. But, I was one of the few channels that reached out to them several years ago about something, and they said, nobody ever does that. Everybody reaches out to them because they want something, but usually it's not a statement.
Hey, Mike, that leads me to a question, and I'd even ask Bob and Tam to see if they have an answer to this question. And with all your connections with Harley Davidson, and I know that we've talked in the past that Bikefest is getting traction with Harley Davidson. Do you know of any execs or anybody that are involved in marketing and that sort of thing that might be coming down for this year's Bikefest?
I do not, and to be honest, I mean, I mentioned it to them, but I think I have a better chance of getting them to come to Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue because it is a rally they already sponsor. It is one of the rallies where they give away a motorcycle. And that was my comment to them. You guys give away a motorcycle at this, but your only presence really is demo trucks outside of what the local dealership puts on. I said, I'd love to see you guys show up, be there, ride the roads, see what this rally's about, and see if there's anything more that you guys would want to do to be involved in it. Because for one, it is a big charity rally, supports charities all over Northwest Arkansas. And I think that's a great opportunity for them to be involved with. Yep. And for two, I think, I think the riding in Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Missouri is a little better than around the lake. There's some great roads at the lake. Absolutely. But it's hard to take a wrong turn out of Eureka Springs.
Impossible.
62 West is probably the most boring road you can get, and that's not all that boring.
No, you're right on that one.
So Sparky asked a question, and we'll give him some insight on my last video here about riding the new HD. Although I really liked it, did it sway your opinion on making a trade for a new model? The only thing stopping me from making a trade on a new model is money. If I had the cash, a new model would already be sitting in the garage. That's simple. That's the honest truth. If I had the cash, I didn't have to worry about finances and things like that, then it would be a done deal already. When last fall, I thought it was going to be a done deal. I thought it was going to be a done deal in January almost. And in January is kind of when we found out we were going to be buying a house. So everything changed from that point on. It was it January or February, honey, when we found out.
Well, we moved in May.
Yeah. It was before we went to Vegas.
I mean, we kind of, yeah, we kind of knew that we were going to, but we didn't know that we were going to be doing it as soon as we are doing it.
It turned out to be, yeah. In February is when we found out it was going to be this year. We thought it might be next year originally. So timeline changed, things changed. Bob and Tom said, I'm with you. Cash is what we need for a new Road Glide. And I mean, I'm going to do a video on the Shark Nose versus the Road Glide, but I'm going to tell you, Steve was gracious enough to let me ride his Road Glide around Kansas City all day one day, back highways, interstate, all that stuff. I got to experience it. 2 up with Firecracker on the back. So I've rode the last version of the Road Glide body style and the new one. I got to ride 600 miles on the new one for spring fling. So, I've got a pretty good feel for both. I'm not a Road Glide guy. Those are the only Road Glides I've rode. I mean, Harley's Road Glide at Vegas was the first Road Glide I ever rode, period, because I'm just not a Road Glide guy. But let's just put it this way. I can get off a Road Glide and walk in the bar and order a whiskey and not look back.
Wow.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not, I don't find the same appeal and things that I do with the Street Glide. I like the looks of the Street Glide better. I like some of the functionality better. I know people are going to tell me that the Road Glide provides better protection from the elements and this and that. I'm going to tell you, I find that hard to believe. I think I get more protection from the water and the rain with the Batwing that's closer to me than the Road Glide. Firecracker definitely heard more wind noise through the intercom system through our Cardos when I switched to the Road Glide over the Street Glide because I was getting more wind around the fairing and up into the helmet. So that's my perspective on it. If I was given my options, I'd still be looking at, I'm still going to buy a Street Glide. Now, at this point, it's, it's probably going to be another month or two before we can consider getting a bike. We'll know more in 30 days, but
unless we win that lottery,
and then there'll be nothing holding us back. There'll definitely be signs.
Then we're both getting a new bike.
She wants that Tobacco Fade Lowrider ST.
She's digging that thing.
I am.
So
Sparky wants to know your opinion, Steve. Road Glide over Street Glide.
I've owned both. Ridden both. I'm a Road Glide guy. I don't know. It's like when in 13 when they made they stopped making the old Road Glide and they took a year off, and then in 15 they made the newer version of the front fairing. That's when I got sold. I really liked the look of it. And when I bought mine in 17, Street Glide was still by far the best seller of the two. And I kind of always like being a little different. And then of course, after I buy mine about a year later, Road Glide just went crazy and became their number one seller. So both of them are a hit. As far as the wind thing that, people talk about, I really don't notice a big difference. I think it all comes down to the looks that you want.
So Sparky asked Cardo Pack Talk, which model? I am running the Edge, and Firecracker's running the Edge. I'm running a Harley Davidson branded Edge, and she's running the regular Cardo Pack Talk Edge. I've never really tried Senna's. I've heard different things. I've got a friend who rides with the Senna. He likes it, but most of the people I know that have had Sennas have not been as excited about them, support other issues, and a lot of them have switched to Cardos and felt that was the way to go. By the way, I do have a discount code for Cardos if anybody needs one. I am a Cardo ambassador this year, so I can save you a few bucks on one by using my code. That's about all I have to offer, other than my personal opinion that I like it. I mean, we were riding at Spring Fling, and Firecracker had a wheel bearing going out, and she got on the Cardo, and she's like, "Hey, this doesn't feel right." You know, so she's sending me designs on my phone here. That's why she's texting, guys. She's sending me pictures of designs for her new logo. She's over here working while we're talking.
She's smiling with a big
happened.
grin. I thought maybe she was sending you special pictures.
Salty said, who needs a fairing, a windshield, a radio, a speedometer, suspension, or a gas gauge? Well, I kind of like having the gas gauge, and I like having suspension. Speedometer is only good for telling you if you're, you can't lie to the officer and say, I don't know how fast I was going. As of last weekend on the Dyna, I no longer have a speedometer. I didn't have a radio other than using the Cardo for audio. I have a 2 helmet setup, so I can put my Cardo in either helmet, one full face and one 3/4. And on the Dyna, I was running the 3/4 and using the Cardo for audio. It has a very small fairing / windshield on it, a Memphis Shades. And it does not do a lot of protection from the rain. Trust me, I got soaking wet last weekend and the weekend before. But the weekend before, I was riding the Dyna in the rain, and the speedometer on it has a crack in it. And I don't know if that's why I no longer have a speedometer, if it got water down in there and it fried something or what, but it's a deal for sure.
Zan, you're right. I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, your difference, definitely one way of describing it. Sparky says that's why I ride an Indian. Evil says I like Senna. I've had the 5, the 20s, and now the 50. Yes. And he said I've also ridden the Street Glide for all you Indian haters. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not. It's just the Indian has not been there for me yet. It's not been the thing yet. I did really like the Bobber. I rode it, the Scout Bobber. April rode one, the Scout. They were probably my favorite Indians that I physically have ridden. The FTR is a hell of a bike, but it's probably the kind of bike that's going to get me into a grave or into a jail cell. Because I like the adrenaline rush, and it's a very a sporty feel. Let's put it that away. So the Pursuit and the Challenger, the Pursuit, I like the electronic suspension on. I know the new Challengers can offer that. With the one I rode was before they came out with the Pursuit and the new suspension. The Chieftain and some of those don't do anything for me. The Chief doesn't particularly. The new 25 model 101, that's a little more interesting. I kind of starting to, that definitely caught my eye when we saw it at the Route 66 Festival. I might do a demo ride on that if I can get my hands on one this next weekend at Bikefest.
I saw that. Whoops.
Apparently, local law enforcement does believe that a plate is required here. It was honestly there when I left home. It was the only good one I had. Evil Sparky says that he has a 20 with the external mesh network add-on. Traded his Bobber for the new 101 Scout. So the 101 Scout's the one I would probably be most interested in
Kind of like
if I was,
Jamie.
yep. Yeah, Chieftain and Roadmaster do nothing for me, but I do like the Challenger. Challenger was okay. The Chieftain and the Roadmaster were definitely not on the top of my list. The Challenger's not really my style, but the Pursuit with the electronic suspension, I could admire the functionality, the features. The styling still not that.
Yeah.
It's more road glideish looking.
The Challenger for me needs to be a little more aerodynamic in the front fairing. It needs a little more fine tuning. And if they could figure out a way to make it a little smaller, I think it would be more appealing. But I've heard great things about the bike itself and how it runs.
Is there anything else we need to talk about? I don't want to keep everybody on here for nothing, but yeah, the Challenger and the Pursuit are similar to the Road Glide. They're just a little different styling. Pursuit's like a Road Glide Limited, got the trunk. Now, I don't know if you know this, Steve, but the Pursuit, when it came out, one of the features on it was electronically tuned suspension for your passenger. So if you throw a passenger on the back, you just throw your weight into the on-screen display, punch in what your weight is, your load, and then adjust the suspension for that load. So you don't have to manually tune it. It's electronically tuned. You set the tuning based on the weight.
Huh. Helps you
And
set your load, huh?
Yeah, and that is now I don't know if it's standard on the Challenger now, but it was an option to the Challenger after they came out with it on the Pursuit. Probably should do a little research on it, but
yeah.
Oh, looky there. It's the Ogre. We're talking about Bikefest, and he shows up after a year. They don't build factory bikes for the Ogres. Yeah, Steve, the Road Glide doesn't have that. Guys, it's almost 9:00, and
Holy shit.
we've got to get ready to go. We've got a benefit ride in the morning. We're going to be kickstands up at 8 a.m., head to Lake of the Ozarks, and we're going to be at Leprechauns for breakfast, then do a benefit ride tomorrow and silent auction. We're going to go roll some dice tomorrow, Steve.
I got a similar day myself. Going to have breakfast at a bike bar and doing a memorial run. It's a scholarship for he was the guy the person that passed away was a musical artist here in Kansas City, and his daughter's running it, and she's become a good friend of mine, and we're going to try to raise some money for kids and music scholarships.
Right on. Well, thank you, Sparky. We'll keep trying to put out good content. If we get a chance to do a live before Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, maybe we'll throw something out there. I need to reach out to Kyle, see if he's got time. Maybe we can get him on next week before we head to Bikefest or something. Peace. Y'all stay safe. Keep on riding. We'll see you in the next one.